It's like having your car in the garage. They put out the motor block, they just completely disassemble it, and if you come in the garage and you say, is that my beautiful car? That's like how this sounds. Is that a beautiful Partita? Yeah, that's from the inside outside. So again, here at my clavichord, sharing with you some practicing moments for the partitas. They're all on YouTube now, and I'm re-studying them for recording on tape and release on vinyl discs next year in 2017. I won't make a long introduction. There is another video on this which has a longer introduction if you want to have some more background of the reason I'm making these videos. So let's dive and let's go to the last movement, which is the Capriccio. And not turning this into an afterthought, but I cannot escape from mentioning the refreshment you feel if Bach opens a kind of really gallant style almost here. It's not really gallant in a Mozart-like way, but we should stop calling Bach an old-fashioned composer because he had kept his whole life for the counterpoint, or learned counterpoint, as I said, in the later 18th century. But doing this, this is really so different than the normal fugue you would expect in the w.a.mozart clavier. And for me, that's one of the main reasons that this music fits so well on the clavichord. This clavichord was a very modern instrument at the time, like the traverse flute and things like that. I mean, the expression, the micro expression, they really sought, and you can translate this mood so much easier, I think, on an instrument that gives you this sound palettes, and it's just like an organ with 500 stops. If you would need that, it's of course insane, but really with special stops you can make special moods. But anyway, that would be for an afterthought. Tempo choice, it's always the basic decision for me. Once the tempo is related to movement. So movement, if movement runs, so to say, as a perpetuum mobile, then it's all okay. And then you can shift, and the closer you come to that abstract kind of image that I was talking about in the first video of this decision-making video series, I don't know how to call it, but the closer you come, the more important is the right movement, because if you differ a little bit from that, what's really like a magnet is pushing towards that point of zero, it's hard to explain. But the closer you come, the bigger the differences are when you slightly change the movement. And that's very frustrating, because if you don't see it really, like here, I can imagine different tempi like this. Very serious. You cannot say that it doesn't make sense to play it this way. It's very fast. I think, considering the notation, it's very fast. So my daily reflex, and that's what I'm sharing with you. I'm not teaching or lecturing. I'm just sharing with you my doubts, my process, so to say. So then I looked at the notation. It's 2/4, and 2/4 in this kind of notation with 16 notes and harmonies that's really going through each other. I would say this is overstepping a lot of what's happening, but it's possible. You can go the opposite way and make it a very serious piece, but and then the only downside is it takes forever then. That's just sharing with you what I'm thinking now. This This really opens to the way for the second entrance. And it makes sense. When you play it fast and you come down to a slower tempo, you can have the imagination that it's like I've said before, you drive on the highway in Germany at 170 per hour and then you turn and you go into a village at 30 per hour, and it gives a really, really uncomfortable feeling. The reason for that is that you use this speed, this movement, and if it slows down, you have to adapt, you have to adjust, and it's only after a few moments that you're going to see more of what the environment has to offer, and it's the same here. So it's really important. You cannot have it, I don't hear it. It's like somebody on stage announcing a next artist, but we're way too slow. And that's my wife entering, so don't mind the domestical noise, just if you would like to excuse me for that. So this announcement will be very hasty on stage. That's really as I see it in my head. I'm not lecturing. And if I play it slower, it's more serious. And even then you can take a little bit more time on the left. It's like I draw an organ stop in the left hand, just to a principal stop. Add to the left hand to just make it a little bit more clear. Which is actually a very modern idea in the 18th century. If you go back the time of Sweelinck, you would have these organs with only a plenum on the ground, on the great organ. You wouldn't have the possibility to shift to stops, to choose from different stops. And going further in the 17th century developed, and in the 18th century the colorization of organs was, that's maybe very bad English, but you know what I mean, was very important. And you can do it on clavichord. You can do it on harpsichord, playing this on the second manual, but then it maybe overstates the point of this left-hand entrance. So how would this sound in a faster tempo? Left hand. So for me, this is possible, mainly on the modern grand, but I have the feeling now, as I'm speaking to you, that that's not the way I should go. I really should dive more into this tempo ordinario field, because I think we are approaching again 60, and that's a magical numbers. The only thing I should avoid is making it too heavy like this. Not too much emphasis on the quarter note. And then reflecting on the 2/4, maybe that's the reason why Bach chose for 2/4 and not 4/4, because then you have a heavy accent on, heavier actually than in 4/4, where you have on 1 and on 3. On 3 a heavy accent, but lighter than the first, but on 2/4 you have this heavy accent every bar, every two beats. Listen to the importance of the left hand, of not making it too long. If I make it too long, it is meaningless. It doesn't give me the pulse I need to go into the movement, because the first note and the release of that note gives you the tempo feeling. beautiful here then. I think that tempo might be right, maybe a little bit faster, but now I have the feeling that I'm approaching more towards what I would call this red dot in my head. And then you can make some time. Maybe some more attention to the alto voice, not too pronounced. Maybe a little bit more in the bass. That's too much. Maybe a little bit more legato. But all added together, this becomes very difficult. So, and then maybe should go to this place, because that's a check actually. Here you have the strong pulse. So I really want to make that clear. Tom, pom, pom, and it comes back in the left. Let's see how that works. I speed it up a little bit. So what I hear is that the articulation should be a little bit more legato. And it reminds me of another place in the second part is here. It's not okay. But what I want to say is it's approaching this abstract point of clearness in my mind, but we're not there because the sound is not right. It's this big. And left hand. So you hear also my motoric feeling a little bit a doubt, because it's shifting all in my hand. It's making new sounds, it's making new connections. So I have to decide on that and then really see what the colorization of this piece, the making sound actually of this piece is. It's like having your car in the garage. They put out the motor block, they just completely disassemble it, and if you come in the garage and you say, is that my beautiful car? That's like how this sounds. Is that a beautiful Partita? Yeah, that's from the inside outside. Also here. To stand still a little bit like this is giving me confidence that this tempo works. So we go for that. Thank you for watching and helping me finding out directions in the partitas. See you next time again. Bye.